Digital. My name is Okeko. Today I'm delighted to be joined by David Bradley, Chief Operating Officer at Hawk Ridge Capital Management. Hi, David. It's great to have you on our channel.
Yeah, pleasure to be here.
Okay, let's jump right in. Let's talk now a little bit about the future of operations. What trends do you see shaping the future of operations in asset management?
Well, I think that it sort of depends on what size of firm you're talking about. I think that regardless of size of firm, there's definitely a move towards more specialization in sort of each job function. But I think that that's becoming more apparent in smaller firms. We're about a 24 person firm with 14 people on our ops team and 10 on the investment team. And what I'm noticing, I've been the COO of Hawk Ridge for the past 10 and a half years. And there's sort of been a elevation in the expectations of the allocator community that look at funds like ours. And everybody's expected to be more of an expert and to go deeper into their own verticals. And it's really hard to be the COO, the CCO, and CFO of a fund unless it's very small. And if it is that small, you just frankly can't be doing all the things that larger funds are doing on an operational basis, on a daily basis, the things that you produce on a monthly basis in terms of customized information for different folks. The expectations on backup systems are much higher. And when you end up sort of doing so much more all the time, you just need people that have the time and expertise. But that comes with a challenge where you can't have black holes between people. You can't just have people who don't know really what anyone else is doing. So you have to sort of maintain the information flow, and that's a bit of a challenge. So in general, I'm seeing a lot of specialization in terms of the future. I'm seeing higher expectations from both allocators and regulators. I think that larger firms are, I think that very small firms are finding ways to outsource things. I think medium-sized firms are expected to do a lot themselves. And I think larger firms, again, get to find ways to outsource things, so they don't have to maintain such large teams, and they can be maybe a bit more competitive on the pricing structure that they offer. Larger firms, tend to probably be lower margin, I would imagine, and they're looking for ways to not let their operational costs get out of hand. And some of the outsourcing options for different things are pretty powerful.
And in this context, how do you ensure that cultural alignment is maintained during periods of significant transformation or change?
Culture is definitely very important to me, and it's something that I really enjoy speaking about when I go to conferences and stuff, or just speaking at roundtables and that sort of thing, because you can't just be a team like ours, of 14 people, and expect everyone just to view their job in in absence of just their skills and their job. It really helps when people actually feel like a team, and they care about each other, and they want to be helpful to each other. So some of the things that I've always focused on are, how good are my teammates being to the other teammates? And someone can be perfectly good at their job, but and they can give people answers to questions that are quite satisfactory, or you might call them adequately mediocre. Uh, but then sometimes I see people on my team get a question and really dissect it and say, well, here's the answer that you probably are looking for. However, in case you mean this in your question, here's a different answer, or a slightly different answer, or here's the answer, but that will only be the answer if nothing changes on this front. And they really kind of provide a rich answer and an explanation. And when my teammates do that, I really applaud it, because that's the kind of stuff that helps get ahead of future problems. People are taking their time to make the other teammates better. so that we don't end up, having errors in the future. So, and that's all about communication, and it's about the praise that managers give their other teammates for going a little bit above and beyond. But it's not about above and beyond in terms of hours. It's above and beyond in terms of support and acting like a team. I don't like it when people are, might say stuff like, "Oh gosh, this is just a job." And look, at the end of the day, we're all here to support ourselves and that sort of thing. But we can be better than that, and that's the kind of stuff that I think does maintain that cultural alignment as you're growing, as you're raising assets, as you're trying to tackle challenges, and I think it should be an ongoing effort at every firm.
And how do you drive the integration of new technologies within your operation?
New technology is something that uh, it's very important because everything's always evolving. Old technologies get stale. Other people find ways to be more efficient. New technologies become expectations of allocators, and if you don't keep up and constantly revolutionize and evolve your technology, all the different technologies involved in the operations of your business, the allocators are going to take notice of that, and they're going to not want to be invested with funds that get stale on that front. So I encourage our team, and I do it myself. I'm always interested in learning what someone's put together. Not everything we don't take on every new technology. There's all sorts of interesting fledgling AI stuff that we're just sort of keeping an eye on right now. Um, but we've made a ton of changes over time to the different things that we use in an effort to do things as well as we can. And it's remarkable when we get in operational diligence meetings with large allocators, they're very pleased with the focus that we've had on making these changes. And they're very curious why we've made these changes. And I think that it's an important part of any team to not just say, "Hey, we're good." And because it's hard. It's a lot of extra work to always be evaluating stuff, integrating with things, trying to iron out the kinks that are inevitably going to happen when you make any kind of a change. And sometimes the technology providers can get complacent and maybe not provide the support that they had at one time. And what was a positive relationship and a good tool becomes less good, and you start having headaches all the time. And when people are threatening to leave or threatening to change, it keeps everyone honest. So that's something we're always trying to do.
Okay, and lastly, what are you looking forward to at TSAM New York?
Well, I just love going to conferences like this. I think that it's the best way to kind of keep your finger on the pulse of what's important to everyone else out there. You learn a million best practices hearing other COOs, CFOs, CCOs, hearing from service providers. Like I said, I like knowing what new technologies are out there. The number of times I've been at conferences and there's just a bunch of booths, and I'm like, all right, give me 5 minutes, tell me what you're doing. And then it's like, oh wow, that's actually really interesting. And maybe it's not interesting for that moment, but you sort of put on the list of things to maybe consider for 3-4 years out. Or sometimes you do have a burning need for something, and you meet someone who's very helpful and knowledgeable and can cogently describe what they do. And you're like, you know what? If I work with you on the integration, I know it's going to be an experience. So it ends up being a valuable time spent for both the sponsor and me, or any other fund manager, to get ahead of what would ultimately maybe be a whole bunch of 30-minute Zooms. You could do a bunch of 5-minute meetings and learn a lot. It's sort of the 80-20 rule. You probably learn as much as you need in the first 5 minutes. But if you commit to a 30-minute Zoom, you're kind of stuck.
Okay. Well, thank you so much again, David, for joining us today.
Absolutely. Pleasure to.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. Be sure to follow our YouTube channel for more content on all the latest opportunities and challenges in asset management, wealth management, and ESG. And don't forget to give this interview a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button.